Christy. I normally say hello, everyone, but I thought I'd start off with that and then we'll work backwards. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us here on the Thursday show. We are so pleased to have you. We have got an absolutely brilliant show and we want to know that you are there, so give us a like on Facebook if you're feeling mental. Give us a share if you are feeling mental, then please donate. We'll be talking about that later on as we go through, but it's been a big week of news. BBC One's show The Wheel has actually had its first COVID positive case, meaning that Nick Grimshaw is having to isolate. I personally think that you could do a public service and self-isolate for the next 30 to 40 years. And after the exams fiasco, closing schools and rising youth unemployment, the Tories have proved yet again that they hate kids by thinking of extending the school day. That's also, when you think about the travel options that we've got, Afghanistan, Bahrain and Sudan have been added to the red list of countries, which comes as a massive blow to the tens of people that want a holiday there. The big one that you will have seen in the news is that Portugal has been added to the amber list, meaning it's going to be as quiet and depressing as the Tokyo Olympics. And if you do worry why it's called the green list, it's because you're going to be jealous of anybody that goes to one of those places. Yet the politicians say that they always follow the data, and they are absolutely right. They follow the data from the opinion polls. So let's introduce a man that is always on my green list. It's Jay Sodagar.
Yes, bless you. Hello, how are you, Dave?
Very good. I'd say I'm a 7 out of 10. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. It's been a good week. It's been a good week because Boris Johnson got married. Finally, he got married to Carrie Simmons, and I never really paid much attention to it. But I actually started to sort of find out a little bit about Carrie Simmons. She's actually quite attractive and she's actually quite intelligent. Which then I started to sit there and go, how on earth are them two together? Are you telling me Carrie Simmons, an intelligent, attractive woman, looked at Boris Johnson's fat, ugly, naked, sweaty body, looked at it and went, oh, I want to taste some of that. That's what I want to do. Yes, that is ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. But look, hey, he's rich. Obviously, he's got a double-barrel name. But yes, bless him. But also like the kind of country's elite, all sorts of people come. Joe Biden is coming to the UK next week to visit the Queen. Yes, and there's only 17 years difference between them two. So 17 years. And now look, Prince Philip's out of the picture. Get in there, Joe. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But yes, no, tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow is also a big day because it is National Donut Day. It's National Donut Day. And it's National Fish and Chips Day as well. And it's my birthday, so I will be celebrating all of those things. Yes, it is my birthday. I am. Thank you. And I'm currently half the Queen's age, so Philip's out the picture. Let's get in there. So
I love that. I think we should do some pairing up here. I mean, I've got a lot of comments that are loving that. Jay Saunders is saying that Rohypnol works.
Wouldn't it be good? Wouldn't it be good if Joe Biden, right, and the Queen did Naked Attraction? That'd be hilarious, wouldn't it? That would be.
Just be curtains of flesh. Oh. Which subsequently is the name of my Brighton Fringe show, Curtains of Flesh. You can check out all of the Brighton Fringe shows down here. Brighton Fringe show goes from 28th of May all the way to 27th of June. And somebody who is doing the Brighton Fringe is a man who is like Portugal. You have to go, when you go inside him, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Let's welcome Vladimir McTavish!
Hey!
Oh, happy birthday for tomorrow. Great.
Thank you.
Was it your birthday, Dave? Are those birthday cards behind you, Dave?
Oh, it's actually my girlfriend's, but well, she's not real, but I just put these up so that people believe that she is real.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Oh, great. It's my birthday next year. Oh yes, we've got a great show. We've actually had to have a guest pull out of this week's show because he got very drunk at the weekend and threatened to punch our producer.
Yeah.
He will remain nameless, but he is from Scotland. And I think that Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, may well have been in the same pub at the time, which is why he has asked Scottish football fans not to go down to London for the Scotland-England game. And it's not just Sadiq Khan. Nicholas Sturgeon has asked Scottish people not to travel to London. The Scottish Football Association have asked Scottish people not to travel to London for the game. All this totally ignores the fact that in London there are 250,000 Scottish people who are well capable of showing their arses in fountains, making utter cunts of themselves in the tube. Yeah, 250,000. That is the population of Scottish people in London. 250,000, and 25% of them have an address. Yes, I know you're not a football fan, Dave. I'm looking forward to the Euros. The whole country is, especially up here, because we've not qualified for a major tournament for years, and it really has. I think it's lifted people's spirits. I mean, because say what you like about sport and organised big events like that, they do give people something to focus on and look forward to and stuff. Because let's face it, this past 15 months has been pretty grim for a lot of people, and I know that we don't actually have statistics about this yet, but people's mental health has been impacted by lockdown, by the pandemic, by not having the social interactions that they are normally used to having. To the extent that most companies now, and this, a fairly recent thing, now will have a designated mental health first aider. And some people seem to think this is a new concept. We had it when I was at school in Glasgow in the 1970s. We had a mental health first aider. He was a guy called Jock Carruthers. He was in the Territorial Army. And if any kids looked like they might be mentally vulnerable, he was great at listening. And also he had some really good advice. Things like pull yourself together. Look, crying's not going to do anything about this at all. That won't help. But there's no use crying over spilt milk. Some people are much worse off than you are. Look at kids in Africa. They don't have anything to eat. They don't cry, do they? Do they? No, they don't. Look, absolutely. Look, you can turn off those waterworks right away. Listen, look at Mr. Brown. He lost a leg during the war. You don't see him crying, do you? And you know what? If that gentle approach didn't work, we had corporal punishment as well. Yes, happy to be.
Oh, I love that. He was obviously a vegan if he said there's no point in crying over spilt milk.
That's right, yeah. That's right. Of course, nowadays, it would be, there's no use crying over spilt almond milk.
Oh, thank you so much, Jay Saunders, who is on top form today.
Spilt almond latte.
Thank you to everyone that has been commenting as well. Of course, Christy. Of course, Liam Green Jacket. Of course, RK971. Thank you so much. Give us a little like when you are there. Give us a share if you're feeling mental. And don't forget, it's not too late to donate. That's the little thing down there. It's paypal.me/FreeFestOnline. All of that gets divvied up to the performance and the show and the extensive writing team that works behind us. We have got an absolutely packed show today, and I am very excited to welcome on our first guest. He is a man that is the creator of the Pegasus Comedy Award. His name is Richard Wright. He is a brilliant performer, and let's see a clip of him in action.
I see a friend, a dickhead, right? A dickhead said to me, he went, oh, you must masturbate all the time. It's all the time, constantly. Wank, 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 wank. And you know what? I don't masturbate all the time, obviously, because I'm here. It's just like the thing. I feel bad for guys that constantly have sex on their brains. They constantly have sex, thought they've got to be going out there having sex. They constantly sex. You constantly right. I feel bad for that because I have the similar feelings, but about biscuits. Similar thoughts, but about biscuits, guys. And it's like, do you want a biscuit? How about a biscuit? We should get a biscuit right now. Oh, it's been a while since you enjoyed a biscuit. Why have you not got a biscuit? It's been a long time. We really need a biscuit. How about we get a biscuit? It doesn't even really matter if you want the biscuit or like the biscuit. Just go and get yourself a biscuit. What about a rich tea? You don't even like rich teas or want them, but you're going to have a rich tea. How about you have a biscuit? You know your biscuit all day. It's been weeks, months you have a biscuit. And you find yourself at 3 a.m. in the morning trying to jack the cake. You're going like, I don't know what happened. Why am I doing this? I feel so bad about myself. It's more habiting, it's more window into my biscuit habits, I think, than really anything about sex. Just more like, have you eaten before this gig, Richard? No, I haven't. I'll just tell a quick thing, and then I'll let you get on with your day. I obviously I'm fat. I'm proper fat, right? People love to tell me that I'm fat. Like my doctor loves it. It's like a weird hobby. It's like a hobby. I was in there last year and had a little rash behind my knee. It's all cleared up. Had a little rash behind my knee. Perfect bill of health, ladies. I had a little rash behind my knee. If anyone's interested, rash behind my knee. And I thought, today's a good day. You can't bring my weight into this. So I went in, I sat down, and within 2 minutes, she brought out a BMI chart. BMI chart, ladies and gentlemen. And I like to see the positive in any situation. So I said, I'm going to stop you there, doctor. Yeah? Because I think you're getting this all wrong. I'm not too fat, am I? I'm too short. I don't need to lose weight. I need to grow, which we both know it's more realistic.
This is awesome. He's a very good friend of mine. He's a lovely guy. It gives me huge pleasure to introduce the one, the only, Richard Wright.
Hello. Hey Jay, how are you? Well,
I'm very well. I'm very well.
Good.
This is. I have to say this. This is one of the things. You're actually one of our regular viewers for the show, and we've literally run out of guests, so we're now starting to invite our audience up now. Yeah. Bless you. It's so good to see you, Richard. I think that last time we must have met was a good few years ago. I think it must have been 2019 or something.
Yeah. I think it was I think it was when I came and did a guest spot on one of the comedy courses.
Yes. That could very well have been it. Yes, oh bless you. How has lockdown been treating you? It's been a shit time for all comedians, and one of the most inspirational things that I've noticed just over the last 6 months of doing these shows of chatting to comedians is everyone's just got on with it and got on with all sorts of stuff. What have you been up to during lockdown?
I mean, not a lot. I started doing Twitch very recently, and I made some stupid videos, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and just kept myself busy. I lost my job, unfortunately. That was a sad thing. But I suppose it was a weird sort of thing because everyone was like, "Oh, you can't go out," and I was like, "I used to spend most of my life not going out." Like, "Oh, didn't you miss all the parties and the dates?" No, there wasn't any. So I didn't really miss out on that much.
So lockdown was a good experience for you, or it's just a regular day? It's just
normal day.
Oh no, awesome. Now you're in Brighton. You are doing a show in Brighton. We'll talk about you. You'll talk about your Twitch channel in a second. And I when we were talking yesterday or earlier today about this, there is a little series of videos that you do that I so want to lovely talk about. But let's talk about your Brighton Fringe show first. Cool. So when was that on?
That is on June 19th and 20th at 5:15 p.m. at the Walrus. Go on brightonfringefest.co.uk to find out more about it. But it's called Richard Wright is Just Happy to Be Involved, because that is essentially my philosophy to myself in life. I'm just happy to be here, happy to be involved. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna smash everything, but as long as I'm there doing my thing, giving it a go, that's enough for Richard.
Is there anything that you would happily not be involved with, or is just anything goes? I'll just be involved with anything.
I mean, based on my life so far, I'm apparently very happy not being involved in a relationship. But apparently that's what I don't want. Don't want one of those. Don't need them. That I know. Weight Watchers. I'm not joining Weight Watchers based on my look. So, and I've never been at a sex party or involved in any kind of sex of any variety, of any nature, with another person. So there's 3 things I've never been involved with.
But you'd be happy otherwise. You'd be happy otherwise.
Yeah, fine, whatever. Can I have a sausage roll? I'm happy.
Awesome. Yes, no, do. If you are in Brighton, go catch a show. But also, you're on Twitch as well. You're on Twitch, and I actually managed to sort of like catch the last couple of like little episode things that you've done on there, and it's just basically talking nonsense, basically. Nonsense. Hot nonsense. There you go.
Hot nonsense.
That's the Twitch channel. And you were talking a lot about wrestling. I love wrestling. Which era of wrestling are we talking about? Are we talking about WWF, or are we talking old school British wrestling, or
any wrestling? I like all wrestling. I like old school British wrestling with Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks. I like Hogan era WWF. I like more modern stuff. You know, I love going to watch live wrestling in Britain, just to go watch little shows. It's always good fun. Get together with the comedians and have a good laugh. But yeah, the Twitch is something that I've just got into recently, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, we do the hot nonsense stuff. I get guests on. You know, I've had like Robin Perkins, John Hastings, Sarah Isles. We've had some good guests on, and it's just always fun. Just hot nonsense. It's not going to be smooth. It's not going to be professional, but it's going to be fun.
The only thing, I'm only just throwing this out there, just very similar to your show. I would happily also like to be involved. If you ever, you're in need of a guest. There you go.
Send you a message.
Awesome. And one of the things I definitely want to talk about is you're doing a series of videos, right? Where I'll let you explain it, but the title of it is Edinburgh Fringe's kebab reviews. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now talk to me about kebabs. This is it. You may see like one of these hands disappear. That's all I'm saying.
Well, go on. Who doesn't want to watch a fat lad talk about a kebab? I started the series because honestly, this reason was I hadn't been up to Edinburgh in ages, obviously, because no Fringe, and I was missing it deeply. And I every now and again, this is really sad, but I jump on Google Maps and I just go around Old Town looking at different Edinburgh Fringe venues and stuff like this, and just like, I'd walk this way normally. Let's go there. And I thought, what if I did a thing where I reviewed the kebab shops I would go to when I was at the Fringe? So I did it, and we've done about six or seven. And what we've discovered is the kebab places I go to are only ones that are within a decent short walk of the flat I live in. That's my rule. It has to be near the flat. And the only exception to that is the one I think you are familiar with, which is my favorite, which is Palmyra. Palmyra Pizza does an incredible kebab. That's going to be the next episode, but I've held back because I want to get that episode really good. And I haven't finished writing it yet.
There's been many a times that as indeed you know that, like, when you do late shows and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're walking down Northbridge and you walk past, because I smoke shisha as well, and there's like good shisha cats just around the corner, but this is like a perfect place. And I remember going in there with Ahmed, right? I'm not name dropping or anything like that, but it was like one big name down. So we got on really, really well, and we bonded over a kebab, not in that way, not in a sexual way or anything like that, but we sat there and we were like, he's Arabian, I'm Indian. We sat there and thought, let's just get a chicken kebab, right? And we got a proper chicken kebab, and it was in that kind of naan bread. I don't want to ruin the review for you. They put loads of chili sauce in it. It's proper spicy chili sauce, right? Do you like your kebab spicy? This isn't a euphemism, by the way.
I like that really spicy, but no, my food, I don't know. Never had it. No, the kebab. I don't like spicy food, so I'm well into sort of the garlic sauce and everything. That's what I like. Oh,
there you go. Asking me if he includes August-only kebab vans. Ah, yes.
Interesting.
Some people call the dog meat van. Yes.
The thing is, I haven't yet, because at the moment I'm only reviewing places I've actually been. I have to have tasted them, and I've already started to build a list for the next Fringe of places I have to go and eat so I can review them. But definitely, I have to have eaten there before I can review them. I think that's only fair.
I remember there was one quite a decent one, actually. I remember just getting chips. I didn't get a kebab there. I got chips from it, but it was just down by the Pleasance as well. And it was just one of these little pop-up things. It was like little greasy chips and everything else. But the chips were actually really nice and crispy. I was like, wow, this is like from a van. I've been into kebab shops and the chips have been horrible, but this is nice. But yes, where is these little videos being shown? Is that on Twitch as well?
No, that's on my YouTube channel. If you just search Edinburgh Fringe Kebab Review, they'll come up, because funnily enough, not a lot of people are doing that. So it's not a huge market.
Just as a quick thing for the viewers and the listeners, do it in incognito mode, just in case it fucks up your search history about
pure filth.
But this is it. No, I love meeting up with you every so often. It's always a good laugh. So tell me what else. So you've got, what is it? You've got the Twitch account. You've got the thing. Oh yes. How did you get into comedy? Now we had a discussion about this, and this absolutely blew me away. But how did you get into stand-up? You've been doing stand-up now for about 9 years, right?
Now 9 years, which you could not tell if you watch me perform. I've been doing about 9 years, and come see the show. I've been doing about 9 years, and I started because basically I was a big fan of a guy called Kevin Smith, who writes and directs films, and that led me down to doing a film degree. And I did a film degree, and after my film degree, one of the things we did was we made a little short film that I wrote about stand-up comedy, which, since doing stand-up comedy, was the most unrealistic thing ever. But anyway, we made that film, and we wanted to put in the opening credits, like between title cards, people doing stand-up to set the scene. And we booked some people to come down, and shock horror, somebody did not show up. What? An unreliable comedian? Why? So I just jumped on stage, because I've always liked comedy, and I thought, I'll do that. And I just quickly said a stupid joke, and people laughed. And I came off stage and go, well, thank you for being nice for the cameras. Obviously, you had to laugh. And no, that was funny. So then I waited for about 1.5 years, because obviously, and I made a New Year's resolution. I said, I'm going to try stand-up comedy this year. And I happened to talk to my friend who was also called Richard. And I said, I've made a New Year's resolution to try stand-up. And he was like, I've made a New Year's resolution to try stand-up. So he went, fine, bang, suicide pact. We both try it on the same night. We go to the same open mic together, we get a spot, and we do it. And that's the only reason, I think, why I finally did my first gig at the end of January at the Lion's Den.
Wow, the Lion's Den. I remember the Lion's Den.
Yeah.
Gosh, bless. Who was the other Richard, if you don't want me asking?
Oh, he lasted a few months and gave it up.
Lightweights.
Because it's just interesting. Like, I was kind of enjoying it, like I was liking it, but it hadn't grabbed me yet. And I remember I thought, oh, I'll look out a bunch of stuff to watch, see if that would help me kind of get the bug. And I remembered seeing a female comedian on a Nevermind the Buzzcocks I found really funny.
Mhm.
And I searched out the name, and it was Josie Long. And I bought her DVD, Trying is Good.
Mhm.
And that was a type of stand-up I hadn't seen before. And it made me go, oh, no, this is so good. This is good. So
Yes.
that so turns my like into a love.
Yes, no. Stand-up is such an addictive job. It's one of those things. It's like you have full creative control. You can talk literally about anything you want to. And for me, I became a fan of comedy, and then sort of like got curious, and I thought, I wonder what it'd be like. So I did a comedy course, and I did a graduation show at the end of it, and I wrote all of my material. I sat there, labored away on this kind of thing for like, it was a 6-week course or something, labored away on it, did the graduation show. And it is that feeling. I blanked out, but my ears were listening and recording all of this. And it's that feeling of that first punchline you hear, and it gets this huge wave of laughter. And you're like, I wrote that, and they're reacting to this. Yeah. They validated this ridiculous thought that I had in my head. This is amazing. And then I did another one, and it was it's such a buzz. It really is such a buzz. I think this is one of the reasons why comedians cannot wait to get back. What do you think? What do you think 2021 and if not 2022 will feel like for stand-up? Because is there a resurgence about it because it's been gone for a year and a half? Or will people
I think there will be. I think there's I think we're about to go into a really boom period for audiences, but also like a really great time for fantastic, funny stand-up, because people have been working on it and they're desperate to perform it. And I think we're going to see some really original comedy and shows, and I think it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I really want to look forward to is comedians who have passion for what they're doing. I have passion for what I'm doing, but even I admit that like maybe over the last 4 or 5 years, I kind of trotted out my 20 or my 30 minutes and just was like, yeah, I still enjoy it. I still get a high from it. But yeah, this is it. I've done this gig before. I've done that before. I've traveled up that motorway before. But this last year and a half, and I've said this again many times before, I'm so sorry if I keep repeating myself to everyone. But I've fallen in love with stand-up again. That urgency, that passion to actually want to say something on stage and actually do it. And I love doing these shows and meeting guests like yourself. It's been such a fascinating journey, and I cannot wait. I did my first gig not too long.
I saw that. I saw you did a gig.
Oh yes. I did my first gig back, and it was lovely. It was just one of those things. It's like I was very nervous, and I walked on stage, and within about 30 seconds, instincts kicked back in again, and I was back in there, and I was playing with the audience. Everything. It was absolutely amazing. And I'm gigging this Saturday as well, and I cannot wait. When's your next live gig? Oh, of course, Brighton.
Brighton, yeah. It's gonna be my first live gig, yeah.
No,
so I'm doing stuff on Twitch, which is helping kind of keep the muscles a little bit better. But it'd be nice to be back on an actual stage in front of people.
Yeah, but on top of that, you're doing an hour. I can't wait till Edinburgh next year. I missed the boat on Brighton this year. I'm a bit gutted about it, but next year I'm so on doing an hour. I'm so on it. I haven't done one for a while, and I'm itching to do it. I've got so much to say and do. Listen, Richard, it's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
So let's bring on the other guys. Stick around. We've got some games to play as well. Let's bring on the other guys. There you go. There's Vlad.
There he is.
Hey.
The wonderful Richard Wright there, and a lot of love in the comments. Thank you very much to Liam Greenjacket that's been on there. Also, thank you very much to Christy and everyone else. Keep those comments coming, and don't forget, it's not too late to donate. If you do want to give a little bit of cash, then it's paypal.me/free best online. Alex Petty's Lamborghini does not pay for itself, so please do be generous and donate in the comments below. I thought Vlad was going to say something there.
Thank you, Liam.
There you go. They're clapping for Richard. There you go.
Right. Well, I think now it's next part of the show is to welcome on our next fantastic guest. He's an international comedian. He's also a Thursday show regular. If you haven't seen him before, where have you been? Let's have a quick look at Ollie Horn in action.
It's a great language. It's like visually, it's very different. Like Japanese doesn't use the same characters that English does. They use kanji, which are like these pictograms imported from China. Right? And there was the 3 kanji on the back of a toilet door. I didn't understand. And it was explained to me by my friend that it said shuri chu in Japanese. Shuri, the first 2 characters, meaning mending or fixing or repair. Chu meaning waiting for or pending. I said, what does that sign mean then? Well, you can't translate it to English. It basically means that the toilet's broken. Right? But rather than saying it's broken, they optimistically say it's pending repair. Which is brilliant. So, you know, it's revolutionised my life because I'm no longer single, I'm just pending wife.
It is an absolute joy to have this guy back on the show. We've worked together in various parts of the world, but I'm now speaking to him down the line from wherever he is in the UK. It is the marvellous Ollie Horn. Hey, Ollie. Yeah, yes, good. I'm just going to say I'm delighted. This is not a platitude. I really am delighted you're here tonight because you very nearly didn't make it, did you? You had a bit of an incident last night.
I almost had to. Well, it's funny because I messaged you just before I was about to start a gig saying, I'm sorry I haven't got back to your message. I'll do it as soon as I get home. And I ended up not getting home till 4 a.m. because my brakes failed on the M32 coming out of Bristol onto the M4. And I was right in the middle lane and there was no hard shoulder and they completely went. And so I had to do a handbrake stop and I, used the clutch to stop. And to be honest, I'm sounding as if I'm being really clever. Like I did this Top Gear style maneuver, like I was the Stig. It was all over before I realized. It kind of happens in slow motion and also happens well before you realize what you've done. But I ended up not being able to use the brakes, being in the middle of this motorway, thankfully avoiding a collision. And then jumping the other side of a barrier and calling the police and going, I'm really sorry, but can you come and get me, please? Anyway, thankfully I'm fine.
Well, yeah, because I've had a few incidents like that. It shakes you up, doesn't it? I mean, and it is. I tell you, it's that weird thing that you don't know what you're doing, but just some kind of instinct kicks in. Mm. I went through that high-speed blowout. I was on the outside lane of the M5, and what my near side back tire just went. I could just hear this explosion, and then suddenly I had no control over the car, and I was shit. And like you did, just didn't put the brakes on, knew not to do that, just went down through the gears, and just kind of slayed the hard shoulder, and I could just see this big trail of burnt black rubber.
Oh goodness, it's awful, isn't it?
And what Jay was saying a couple of minutes ago when he was talking to Richard about, isn't it great being back doing live gigs? Yeah, it is, but that's the kind of shit that we don't.
Exactly. And the thing which I realised was this. Yeah, quite. And this gig in Bristol was kind of the kind of gig I was pleased to go back to because it was a new material night above a pub. Which I was going to be losing money on in total, certainly now with tow fees and mechanics fees. But what happened was I turned up to this gig and I walked into a green room and there were 2 or 3 acts I knew, 2 or 3 I didn't know. They were all just talking shit about promoters. And it was like, nothing's changed. Like it was, I walked back in to as if it had never stopped. What was really good about this gig, which we did last night, was due to COVID, the acts couldn't watch because there was a restriction on the capacity. And we couldn't even hear what was going on. We were in a different room. So every act went and did their spot and came back without us knowing what they'd said. So that had 2 consequences. One, you never know that, another act might do something which you've got a bit on and you just don't, you can't address it. But also, secondly, everyone smashed it because they came back with no evidence to the contrary and went, yeah, that was brilliant. I did really well.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. Bring me back. I've missed those booze.
Yeah.
I've missed people talking all the way through my set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That whole thing about those nights in the morning when you can't wait for. I once doubled up. Well, I didn't. I ended up not doubling up. This was the weekend before the 2018 Fringe, and I was doing the middle 20 at the Edinburgh stand, and I got asked at the last minute if I would open a gig in Dunfermline. Now, Dunfermline is literally just 10 minutes once you're over the bridge. So it's 10 minutes once you're over the river, so it's like 40 minutes from Edinburgh city centre. And the gig I was doing at the stand was cash in hand. The gig I was doing at Dunfermline was half the money and was bags.
Right, okay.
It was a 7:30 show, so I could easily open, get in my car, drive back to Edinburgh, be back at the stand before the show even started. And loads of time, I got within half a mile of a friend's house on the outside of Edinburgh, and my car just blew up. The engine just packed in. I couldn't even get the hard shoulder. I actually just packed in on the dual carriageway. I had to wait until another car came behind me to push me onto the hard shoulder. I thought,
Well, that's dangerous if the police hadn't closed the road off, right?
well, it's bad enough having one like that on the way back, but suddenly I'm thinking, shit, I can't get to the gig. So I actually phoned the stand, talked to the techie. He said, we'll send out a staff taxi.
Okay, good.
So is your car safe? I said, well, it's safe enough. So, well, you can come and get it later. We'll send a staff taxi. It'll pick you up, bring you into Edinburgh. And they wouldn't come because I didn't have an actual address. I was just on the hard shoulder. So this guy from the taxi firm said, no, we can't come. Unless you can give us a house number, we can't come.
Of course, yeah. So then what did you do?
Well, I just waited for the RAC to turn up. And it was end of July in Scotland. So obviously it was pissing with rain and fucking freezing cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're told to get out your car. So I stand outside in the pissing rain, and eventually got a friend of mine to cover for me for the gig. And then when the recovery truck guy came, he was a bundle of laughs. He was great fun. He told me about all the fatalities he'd been called to do with.
Yeah.
If you get you turn up and everyone's dead. Oh, yeah.
Well, do you know what? Look, I had a similar conversation with the guy that brought my car back home. Well, actually, I ended up getting him to take it to a garage. But he said, oh, it's nice doing jobs like this because most of the time I'm sent to do jobs where there's still limbs in the car. And, and I was like, God, you know, that I suppose that you know, that is what could have happened, you know, if I was a bit unluckier. But
sorry. Yeah. So
no,
your car is pending repair then, is it?
yeah, exactly. Very good. You listened to the clip. That's great. Yeah. No, it was and actually this you know, this idea of having an accident, I think I'm not a very good driver, right? I'm just a clumsy individual anyway. But I am careful because I had an early accident. I passed my test first time and then within 6 months rolled a car. And yeah, and again, this was a burst tire situation. And you know, I wasn't drunk, I wasn't speeding, but I was very inexperienced. And maybe now I would have been able to handle that better. But I was going round a country road and I plowed through 150 years of Cotswold dry stone wall, and did a full 360. You know, I went on the roof and then back on all 4 feet. And I felt this huge sense of injustice that I really didn't feel like I was at fault. You know, like I really thought, you know, I kind of wished I'd done something negligent, you know, like I was eating or playing with the radio or something. And so ever since then, I've just been quite distrusting of cars. And I've always tried to like live in cities where I can bicycle or use public transport. But the nature of being a road comic in the UK is without a car, I mean, you just don't get work.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do know some people who don't drive, and I think, how the bloody hell do they manage it?
I know.
Yeah. That I was lucky in that I passed my test first time when I was nearly 18, and I took my test in fog.
Okay.
And the previous week, I had a driving lesson in fog, and so my driving instructor told me how to drive in fog. And so when it was foggy on the morning of my test, I thought, I know what to do. And
how do you drive in fog? Is it just fog lights on, or is there other stuff we should know?
Fog lights, washers and wipers.
Okay.
That's the thing people don't know. You see, washing wipers in the fog, and I think the instructor was so impressed with the fact I knew how to drive in the fog, he passed me.
There we go.
Well, the thing is, Ollie, I can only drive in fog.
So now you just bring a smoke machine around with you.
Yeah, thank fuck east of Scotland.
Yeah, that's great. But anyway, I'm very, very glad to be to be alive. And also, the saddest thing about it is I was borrowing my younger brother's car. It's this little Mini. It's a very cute little thing. It's got a Union Jack on top. And I'm just seeing a comment. No comedians are wanting to be Ollie's tour support after hearing all this. This man's unlucky. Yeah, I mean, people didn't want to be my tour support anyway.
As we said earlier, no comedians wanted to be Ollie's tour support, full stop.
Exactly. I know. Well, actually, it's the other way around. It's normally the tour support that does the driving, right? And it's the headline act. So actually, it's an even sadder state of affairs that I'm not going to get even a support role anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I must admit that whole thing about I don't miss those long nights in the motorway. I mean, I'm going back to doing them down Newcastle next week, and God. But it's one of these things you just take on board, isn't it? Because you were telling me earlier about your driving instructor.
Oh God. Well, yeah. Well, actually, looking back, it all makes sense. Of course, I'm a terrible driver. I had a terrible instructor. Like this guy, I'm pretty sure he's retired now because I was so fascinated by him now, right, 15 years on, that I couldn't believe my own recollection of this man. Because when you're 17 and adults do weird things, you just you haven't met enough adults to know that they're absolutely moronic. But looking back, this guy, my memories of him are so absurd that I wanted to book another test with him, or another lesson with him now. Just pretend that I needed an advanced driving. But I think he must have retired. But he spoke like this, right? So most of the instructions will just be through his throat because he was a chain smoker. The car stunk of smoke. He was going through a divorce literally while I was in the car with him. Most of his attention was spent texting his ex-wife demanding things. And I could read it because he was one of these people that had the text on his Nokia 3310, kind of the full size of the screen, And he would say things like, he would always talk about the other girls that he had in his car, as if I was impressed. I go, lovely girl in the car, just where you were sat there. And he genuinely said, you probably still smell her. And as if I was supposed to go, yeah, bro, the great stuff. And I mean, almost every lesson we'd have to stop and get him things. So, stop and get donuts at a petrol station. I thought these were all going to be part of the test, right? I thought I'd turn up the test to go, and now just goes to the nearest M&S and get a meal deal to the value of £4.49. Okay, I can do that. Jeff made me do that once. Terrible man. And the reason I was so keen to pass first time is I didn't want to spend another moment in the car with him. And that is the secret. And that is why I think Jay, that's why I think, I can't say this joke. I was going to say that's why there's such a good comedy, there's such good comedy instructors on this show. But I'm not going to make a mean joke.
I don't think we've ever done a gig together in the UK. No, we did. We did one in Edinburgh a few years ago. But we worked together in Australia mainly because until recently you were abroad, weren't you? Were you in Japan? You were in Japan, I know that. Definitely.
Yeah, I was based in Japan until 2018. And then between 2018 and, basically 2018, 2019, I was basically in a different country every 3 months. Just living somewhat nomadically, which is a euphemistic way of saying homeless. And then lockdown happened, and we spoke about on the show last time that I got stuck in Malaysia for about 3 or 4 months. And then when I could eventually go home, decided to stay. But I got forcibly repatriated. But I've been back in the UK now for about 6 weeks, staying at my mum's house. Although I've realized now as someone who's nearly in their 30s, I'm turning 30 in September. So, but culturally mid-20s, it's not cool. It's not cool to live with your mum, right? And I've got to work on this. However, what is cool is being kind, and it is kind to let your mum live with you. And unfortunately, my mum's. Yeah, exactly. It's like, what a nice guy, like caring for his mum. Unfortunately, my mum's fit and healthy, but I'm just one diagnosis of some kind of neurological disease away from being an absolute catch.
Yeah. I'm glad you added the "and healthy" to that description of your mom.
Okay, well, I've got a story about this. I'm happy to put this on record that my mum is very good looking, right? And it's like Will's mum in The Inbetweeners, where like all of his friends fancy her. Well, I've got a story about this. When I was at university in first year, there was a girl that I fancied, and I was texting her back and forth, and she sent me a text saying, "Oh, I saw you walking down the street on a date, so I didn't want to disturb you," right? And I, as I was responding, going, "Oh, haha, that was my mum," not making her think, "Oh, still interested in you," because my mum had come to see me at university and we went out for dinner together. The next message that came from her was, "But don't worry, she's out of your league, lol." And it's pretty crushing as an 18-year-old to know that your own mother is out of your league.
Yeah, you punched above your weight there, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
But your time in Japan, you're still kind of doing a podcast, aren't you? Japan by River Cruise, I believe.
Yes, it's 30 minutes every week of cutting edge, avant-garde reporting on the Japanese river cruise industry. At least we say so. Right. At least we say that's what it's about.
And of course, Japan very much in the news with the Olympics and the whole controversy about it. I mean, what's your take on that? I personally,
yes. I don't have much of an opinion myself on it, other than I have a lot of friends in Japan who are very upset about the public health risk and the fact that clearly that there's a lot of momentum behind the Olympics and it's not going to be stopped. One of the interesting takes that I've heard on it is, to understand why the Japanese government is going ahead with the Olympics, there's two main reasons. One, they have to, because the contract with the IOC basically says the IOC can pull out, but the host city can't. And the second reason is, this was an explanation given by a lady called Rochelle Kopp, who's been a guest on Japan by River Cruise. And she's a specialist in kind of understanding corporate behavior. She's a cross-cultural consultant. And a lot of her job is explaining why Americans do business this way and the Japanese do business this way and whatnot. And she said that the way that and I'm simplifying, but the way that the Japanese make a decision is they spend a very, very long time building consensus and they get lots of input from lots of stakeholders. But then once a decision's been made, it's very hard for them to change course. Whereas in the UK, we might make a decision quite quickly, but then if we want to change course, we get lots of people involved. And she basically says that for the Japanese, there's no culture of one leader, one person putting their head above the parapet and going, "This is mad, this is insane that we're still going ahead with this event where the only thing that's going to be competing is different variants of the virus from around the world." And so the absolute maddest thing is Yoyogi Park, which is a big, gorgeous park right in the center of Tokyo, very, very beautiful, and they're chopping down trees to build a big viewing stand. But this viewing stand, originally they were saying, well, don't worry, we're going to limit the capacity to something like 700 people, which is just pointless because someone worked out that it was costing about $1,000 per person based on that restricted capacity. And then there was this big petition, which Rochelle spearheaded, basically saying, you've got to stop this. You've got to stop building this. Absolutely, it's emblematic, isn't it, that they're plowing ahead because some building contractors got some contract. And in the end, they said, fine, we're going to stop using it for a public viewing platform, but we are going to go ahead with the lucrative construction, but we're using it as a vaccine site for frontline workers, which is such a funny way of then going, you're going to stop us now, are you? You really going to be the bad guy?
Yeah, frontline workers who all throw the javelin and take part in the 200 meters. These are frontline workers. Well,
exactly.
They are from the
some nurses doing shot put.
Yeah. So listen, mate, stick around because we still got the final part of the show too. But one, a joy to have you in the show, and secondly, I do really mean this. It's great to see you alive.
Thanks, man. Look forward to seeing you at some point soon.
Yeah. So.
Brilliant stuff. Now we welcome on our next part of the show where we find out which one of our comics can do a handbrake turn. So what I'm going to need is that would have been better if I hadn't have stumbled my words. No, it is, of course, the bit that we absolutely love. It's Desert Island Dicks. Da, 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 da. There is a graphic. There it is. This is where we ask who of our guests would delete from society, would castigate them to a desert island to make the world a better place. Who would that person be? So we're going to go in order. Richard Wright, what dick would you put on our desert island?
Now, I think I'm going to be nice to a person here, okay? And I'm not necessarily calling him a dick, but you will infer from this what you want. I'm going to put Leo Curse on a desert island only because he seems he's very concerned about what he can and can't say. And, you know, I'm sure he could win an election on a desert island, but at least if he's on a desert island, he doesn't have to worry about being censored, about what the government do to him. He can say what he wants on a desert island, and that'll make him super happy.
Oh, that was brilliant. Yes, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
That is my favorite of all time, and join us next week when Leo Curse is going to be joined by Lawrence Fox. Two wonderful comedy characters. So next up we've got Ollie Horn. Ollie, who would you put on the desert island?
Probably Darius Davies, so Leo has company.
Such a nice joke. Absolutely brilliant. Well, this brings us to our final challenge, which is absolutely not stolen from a Channel 4 game show. It is called Mask Tasker. What I ask our competitors to do, that's Vlad, Ollie, Richard, and Jay, is wear their masks like a blindfold. I'm going to give you a picture. You have 30 seconds to draw that picture while blindfolded. Whoever draws the best picture wins. Now, our picture this week, I love how Richard Wright has put a bin on his head. He's, I mean, is that a welding mask? That's insane.
Extra safe masks, you know? Those big ones are like...
Brilliant! I love that. Well, the picture that we're going for this week is Darius Davis and Leo Curse on their desert island. You have 30 seconds to draw that while blindfolded. Your time starts now. I can see that Richard Wright is already kind of getting quite hot and bothered there, and he's looking down. Yeah, look at that. I mean, that looks like those nurses in ICU when they were working at the height of the pandemic. Whereas Jay looks like he's dowsing for water and sort of like there's something nearly there. That's also an old pair of his pants, not even a mask that he's wearing over his face.
The skid marks are inside. The skid marks.
Brilliant. And speaking of skid marks, let's have a quick look at Vlad. It's all gone very MC Escher there with like bits of his face over his face, not really sure. But then the determination on Ollie's face leads me to think that we are going to have a great picture coming up there. We've only got 5 seconds left, my friends, so please make sure to finish those off. Jay flagrantly cheating as he picks up the skid marked mask. We have 3, 2, 1, and drop those pens, take off those masks, and it is time to judge. Don't forget, this week our Mask Tasker challenge was a picture of Leo Curse and Darius Davies on a desert island full of dicks. So Vlad, let's have a look at your photo.
Well, it's very cool. It's one very tall guy, and one guy with long hair here, saying "cunt." He was going to say something. He was going to say something racist, but then I thought this stays up on the internet forever, so I thought that not.
Also, to be clear, let me be very clear, because Leo is a friend. Leo has a letter to say that he's not racist from the Live Comedy Association. So, Vlad, no matter what accusations you throw, Leo
No, he's not correct. He's not racist.
Well, no, he wasn't. Yeah, you're right.
He's got the ultimate defense. That letter will last forever. There's no expiry date on it. Anything he says in the future.
Well, Ollie, I want to see what your picture is. I've got high hopes for this.
I've gone for the same big guy, and then that is Leo's bollocks, quite big, and that's Darius with his hair, and that's Darius saying, "Give me money."
Absolutely brilliant. Well, Richard Wright, let's have a look at your picture.
I can't really draw at the best of time, but that's them on the island. The unfortunate thing is this one here was meant to be a tree, but it looks a bit like he's being hanged. And those are birds in the sky waiting for the hanged body to.
Even on your virtual island, he's still being censored. And finally, Jay Sodagar, let's have a look at your picture.
There we go. Here we go. So there's Leo, and he's been cancelled. He's been cancelled. There's Darius, and there's his little beard. Look, his little beard. Leo. I should have drawn a little goatee beard as well. But yes, they're on the desert island. But Leo's already been cancelled because Darius didn't enjoy what he said. So that's
something that I do have to say before we get cancelled and before we finish the show is genuinely this is all in the spirit of good fun. We don't mean any harsh, any bad, any genuinely. I don't mean any bad feelings.
Let's not actually cancel them.
No.
Yeah. Well, before we go too far, so thank you so much to our wonderful guests that have been on here. Richard Wright, have you got anything you would like to plug for the people that are lovely people at home?
Check me out on Twitch, twitch.com/thatRichardWright stuff with some excellent hot nonsense. And June 19th and 20th, 5:15 p.m. at the Walrus in Brighton. Richard Wright is just happy to be involved. Come watch me be funny for an amount of time.
Brilliant stuff. Go along to that show, and while you're there, check out all the Brighton Fringe shows. BrightonFringeFest.co.uk. It's running all the way through till June the 27th. And finally, Ollie, what would you like to plug?
If you're interested in finding out more about how Japan's going to fuck itself up with the Olympics, then listen to my podcast, Japan by River Cruise. The episode last week with Rochelle Kopp is really interesting. Recommend that. And if you'd like to see me at the Brighton Fringe, then please drive recklessly in the town centre. Because I am an understudy.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, I'm going to go before Leo Kurz or Darius Davis hunt me down. I'm
going to get you so bad, Dave. This is going to be the worst week of your life now.
I'm genuinely quite scared. I don't mean any malice.
I mean, Liam Jacket is correct.
I'm going to hide in a cupboard underneath my stairs, but all that is left to say is a huge thank you to our wonderful guests, Richard Wright, Ollie Horn, and of course, my co-presenters, Jay Sodagar, Vladimir, McTavish. Thank you to Jay Saunders, Liam Greengrass, Kirsty Shields, and everyone else that's watched. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Bye.